parathion was invented by scientists of the Third Reich to kill people. And then they said, well, we don't want to do that. I'll bet you it'll kill bugs. It is a historical truth. I apologize. Not that my country's been any better. You know, I found out a few years ago my country had an active germ warfare program during the Vietnam War. But that's another story for another day. Because I think I can only tell it outside the country. I'm kind of afraid.
That's not really a secret.
Well, I'm not sure how secret the stuff I know is. But anyway, here I bought my apple. My lovely apple for 59 cents. And it was treated with methylparathion. That's why the apple grew so big. That's why this apple is so nice, because the insects that would otherwise weaken the tree and take away its energy to allow it to make that apple so big and juicy did not go to that tree. They were like, no, fuck that tree. That tree tastes better, I don't want that. This apple has been looked at. You see, before I'm allowed to spray methylparathion on my apple, the guys who make the methylparathion have to spend quite a lot of money and quite a lot of time doing very, very detailed studies. Now, when I say detailed, trust me, I was the guy who had to do the studies. The government agencies, not just the US, we did it for the OECD as well, all over the world, they don't dick around. Literally, you make a typo, you misspell a word in your study, they'll kick it back to you. Yeah, bastards, actually. So, I have to prove that with normal washing, normal treatment of this apple, that the levels of methylparathion on it are no higher than a certain benchmark level. How do I know that benchmark level? I have to do studies of the toxicity of methylparathion. I have to prove to the government how much is safe. I can't just tell them. I have to prove it. I have to do studies. I have to use healthy volunteers. I have to use animals. I have to use all sorts of computer things here to prove, and that's the word, prove, beyond any doubt, not just reasonable, but any doubt, that if you take in 5 micrograms of methylparathion, that it will be safe. And the government will come back and say, okay, that sounds good, so 5 is a safe level. You're not allowed to have any more than 0.1 on your apple, because now we want to have a bigger safety barrier. So I have to prove that at no time when you buy that apple will there ever be more than 0.1 micrograms of methylparathion on that apple. And in fact, I want to give myself a safety barrier, so I'll try to keep that down to 0.05. Because the government agencies throughout the world will do what is it sounds so happy. It's a market basket analysis. Doesn't it sound cheerful? A market basket analysis. What that means is they're going to randomly go out. They will track the apple from the tree through the distributor to the market. And they will, every once in a while, every couple of months, every couple of years, they will send agents out to the markets to buy that apple that was treated with my methylparathion. They will take it back to their laboratories, and they will themselves measure the amount of methylparathion on that apple. And if it exceeds 0.1 micrograms by even a fraction of an amount, I go to jail. So don't tell me, oh, the evil pesticide companies are trying to get away with something. I am not risking my freedom for that company. It doesn't work that way. The penalties are very, very strict. I'll go buy an organic apple, kind of shrunken, not really very red, because the tree had been attacked by all sorts of insects, sapping its energy. I'll take a bite of this apple. What's on this apple? Nobody knows. Nowhere in the world is organic fruit regulated. Nobody tests it. It could be covered with shit, for all you know, E. coli, because what's the farmer fertilizing his organic field with? It could be covered with 50 times the amount of methylparathion as my apple. Why? Because it was grown on a farm next door to the one where they were spraying the methylparathion, and the wind blew over here on this farm, and whereas this guy had to invest 14 million euros into equipment to wash the apples to get the alar off, or the methylparathion, this guy didn't do that at all. He dipped it in water a couple of times and sold it. It's organic, it's natural, it's good for you. Good luck. How many people here are a Gemini? And you know that. Isn't it astonishing that out there in the heavens, the great planet Jupiter has taken itself from its orbit, and it has aligned itself directly with Saturn at the precise time that Venus is coming over the horizon in India at 10:53 a.m., all for the singular purpose of telling you to be careful in your dealings with a friend. Stars don't work that way. But you know, there are people who won't go to work without looking at their horoscope. I could give you a... You are going to meet interesting people today. You will sit in a long and boring lecture by an old guy. Be careful and do not read too much into what a friend says to you. Mercury told me that. I'm not going to say any more about astrology just because it is just too silly. They don't even try to call it science. You can go down to the store and you buy all these astrology, your horoscope, astrology. You know, there's no science porn down there for me. I don't understand this thing. Why do people take... Because the astrology tells them things that they want to hear. It tells them things that make them happy. They like to believe. They'll read their horoscope 300 times, and it won't really work. And then one day it will come up, and it will say, you should take a different route home. Ooh. So instead of turning right, they'll turn left. And behind them, a pedestrian will be struck by a car on their normal route. One time out of 300, by chance, a pedestrian stepped out in front of a car and they went, ah, it works! And then they read it every day. Remember what I said? You pay attention to the facts that support what you believe, and you ignore the facts that don't support what you believe. You don't pay attention to the 299 times it was wrong. You only look at the one that was right. There was a gentleman in the 19th century, here in Germany, in fact, a Dr. Hahnemann. There's a hospital in Philadelphia named for him, in fact. Dr. Hahnemann became interested in a plant extract that was said to cure the symptoms of malaria. Now, the symptoms of malaria, just so we get these all straight, we have a very high fever, often accompanied by hallucinations. I was hallucinating there. Chills. Basically, it's not a nice disease. Paresis, sweating. Dr. Hahnemann, because he was a doctor,